Like, comment, and subscribe for more content. What is going on, guys? So today, I have a video for you guys that's unlike anything I have on my channel, right? And it's a review. That's right, I want to start doing reviews, and what better game to start with than the Callisto Protocol, because I have a ton to say about this game, okay? I've been waiting for this game for ages. It's a game that's basically the spiritual successor to Dead Space, right? And I know we're getting that Dead Space remake. That's not what this is. This is a completely different thing made by devs of Dead Space, right? And we've been waiting for this game for forever, right? It looks amazing, right? It trailers really good, right? So now that it's finally out, you know, I decided to go and dust off my my Dead Space gear, and it's time for me to jump into some space horror, right? Because I love horror games, dude. And I know you look at my channel and you see a lot of multiplayer games, a lot of Capcom games. Nah, dude, horror is my first love. So, what do I think about it? Is it good? You'll see. Is it bad? You'll also see. Because like I said, I have a ton to talk about here. Some of it good, some of it bad. Just spoiler alert, I'm a little disappointed. Just a little bit. But what does that mean? I will tell you, audience, after you hit that subscribe button. That's right. You guys thought I wouldn't do it. Of course I would do it. Anyway, guys, let's jump into it. This is my review of the Callisto Protocol. Okay, so really quick, let me just recap the story. So you play Jacob, played by Josh Duhamel. Is that Josh Duhamel? And he's basically like a space trucker of some sort. When did Josh Duhamel go to space? And essentially, you and your partner Max are doing a space trucker job, right? You guys are doing a gig, transporting something, and your ship is attacked by Karen Fukuhara's character Danny. Right now, I don't know if you've ever seen Karen Fukuhara. That's a beautiful woman, man. I would have just let her take what she wanted. Honestly, I wouldn't even have put up a fight. Like I love Karen Fukuhara, man. That's my girl. Don't let my girlfriend hear this. But anyway, one thing leads to another, and you guys are thrown in the prison known as the Callisto, right? And that's where the main story takes place. Now, the character of Jacob, who, you know, he's the main character. He's the player character. So that's the guy that we spend the most time with. He's serviceable as a main character. Like, he's nothing special, and you're gonna be hearing me say that a lot. I would like to add, he's nothing special, but he is serviceable, right? As far as space truckers go, played by Josh Duhamel, he's probably the best one. Okay. As the story does go on, Jacob does get a little bit more badass, I guess, because we're just spending more time with him and just watching him kill more monsters. So, for what that's worth, he's pretty cool. But once again, I don't think he's anything special. Karen Fukuhara's character, however, Danny, dude, she's like the best character in the whole game. That's not saying much. But dude, I was glued to the screen every time she showed up. Then again, it is Karen Fukuhara. As I explained earlier, I'm a huge simp for her. Okay? There's another character that we meet early on. He's essentially like a prison guard type character. This dude has a lot of charisma. He's a super interesting character. However, I feel like they don't really do a lot with him. I'm not going to spoil anything. All my gameplay that I have is like from the first couple hours. And I'm trying not to give out any story spoilers, but they don't do a ton with this dude. The second he stops showing up, I immediately want him back. So, that essentially covers the characters. There's not a lot of characters in this game. But while we're talking about characters, just look at the screen. One of the strongest selling points of this game, and I said it earlier, this game trailer is really nice, the graphics. Right? The graphics in this game are insane. The fidelity of this game is just This is like industry leading stuff, man. It looks insane. I played this on a PS5, right? So I didn't play it on PC or anything. Also, let me inject right here. I have heard that the PC version is just a garbage fire. Like, just, dude, do not play the PC version. It is insanely bad. So, the best version of this game is seemingly the PS5. So, if you do end up buying this game after this review, consider the PS5 version, right? Save you a lot of pain and agony. But yeah, the graphics of this game, insane. I love them. That's probably the strongest selling point of this game. Followed very closely by the setting, right? So, space horror is very, I don't want to say specific, but there's not a lot of it. You got the Aliens games and you have Dead Space, right? So anytime there's a new space horror type setting, it's immediately iconic, right? And the Callisto, I would consider it pretty iconic. There's so many like different just like settings in this one spot. There's like a snow area, there's a sewer, there's a point where near, you know, underground, there's a drill going to the center of the planet. So there's a lot of like variety on this one little prison planet. Speaking of variety, the color palette, weirdly, I was not expecting to see this much this much color on my screen, right? Like the oranges and greens really pop out, which, I mean, it's kind of obvious because if you look at the back of Jacob's neck, that's your health indicator, right? Just like old, you know, Dead Space, there's no like HUD or anything. The indicator for your character is going to be like on the back of his head or some shit, right? So they want that green to really stand out. Another thing I like, the costume design. Well, it's not really a costume, but the character designs. Later on in the game, Jacob gets like a spacesuit, and it does look pretty cool. My favorite aspect is how you can see Jacob, you know, putting his new armory of weapons and shit, like the way he puts them away, like he puts his like stun baton on his back, his pistol like on his side, right? Just seeing all that stuff slot into his spacesuit is really cool, right? So the visuals of this game are insane, right? However, that's where my pros kind of end and my cons start to begin, okay? And it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because the bottom of my pros list and the top of my cons list is the combat, right? What you're seeing on screen right now, right? Jacob is using a crowbar of some sort, a lead pipe to take out this enemy. And the combat in the Callisto Protocol is really cool. It's really interesting. It feels weighty. It feels violent, right? Like when you kill a monster or an enemy using, you know, your melee attacks, you feel like a badass. I'll be honest with you, man. At a certain point, about like an hour and a half in, dude, I felt like I was the monster. You know, that like the things in this prison should be worried about me. Oh, bitch. I stab you.
Stab you.
Oh, hi. Get your ass out of here. And I was supposed to be sneaking through this, but I got really excited when I stabbed that guy.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
You're locked in here with me.
Well, what's the problem, Julian? Don't you want to feel like a badass in a video game? That's probably what you're thinking, huh? Right? Where's the problem in all that? Why is combat at the bottom of your pros list and the top of your cons list if it makes you feel like this unstoppable badass? And that's just the thing. In a survival horror game, I don't want to feel like an unstoppable badass. You know what I mean? Especially at the beginning of the game. And I can't put my finger on it. It might be the dodge mechanic, right? Which you're seeing on screen right now. where it's not as complicated as they make it out to be. You just essentially hold left or right when an enemy is trying to attack you, and you automatically dodge an attack, and they're open for a counterattack, right? It's really weird. It's kind of like a fighting game in a way, right? This is less Dead Space, and it's more of like a brawler, weirdly enough. And it's really cool at the beginning, but like I said, after that hour and 30-minute mark, I just felt I wasn't afraid of anything. I felt strong. That's another thing. This game isn't that scary. They try to jump scare you like all the time, and the jump scares are just not good. One thing that Resident Evil does really well is that it's not just scary, but it builds like dread, right? It builds dread and terror, right? As a survival horror game, they expect you to backtrack and solve some puzzles. There's none of that in this game. It's a linear experience. You just go straight and you just murder your way through this horrible prison. Which, you know, if that's what you want, sure. You know, I enjoyed it. It's just not the ride I thought I was strapped on for, if that makes any sense. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Because the combat, this game lives and dies by its combat. And unfortunately, there was an encounter, I want to say about 2 hours in, and during that encounter, I really started to see the cracks in this game, right? That the positives of this game are really like skin deep, right? The Callisto protocol is like everything on the surface level is amazing, right? But then you play it for longer than an hour and a half, and you're like, oh. So the combat in this game, as cool as it is, how it's like melee focused and you use your gun for like the finishing moves, right? So it's really not Dead Space. You have the dodge. However, as I stated before, it's not as complicated as you're led to believe. You just hold left or hold right, or you hold back and Jacob will do a block, which I rarely use. I think I use it once. It's really weird because as soon as they throw more than one enemy at you, this whole system falls apart, right? And it's really noticeable. I think about 2 hours in, they threw 3 enemies at me. Just one extra guy, one more than 2. And then everything fell apart. Because there is no lock-on mechanic, right? Jacob chooses who he wants to hit, right? So what if there's a big, strong dude that you want to focus, right? And he's behind you. There's no quick turn, really, right? So you're kind of just fucked, right? Like, Jacob will hit who he wants to hit. You can't really run away from a conflict. You're really not that fast. Jacob's a pretty slow character. And later on in the game, this becomes so like pivotal because I don't know if this is a spoiler, but like if you don't, at a certain point, enemies will start to mutate, right? So if you don't kill them immediately, they'll mutate and become stronger, right? So wouldn't it make sense if you can focus on the enemies that are mutating before they level up? Right? Like, doesn't that just make sense? You can't do that. So you better be sure you kill that enemy when Jacob is hitting it, right? Because if not, you're basically fucked. Dude, I died like 7 times to like a specific group of enemies because like I just couldn't control who Jacob was hitting, right? Like I would get lucky and just through maneuvering I can like, you know, get behind an enemy and then beat the shit out of them. But like it's really strange. That's a really strange design decision. And then there's a boss encounter later on in the game that completely just like, there's no, I can't even explain it, guys. Just know that the gameplay, everything that's been led up to the end of the game, like all the gameplay that you've learned, it kind of just doesn't really, oh man, it doesn't really take advantage of the things that you learned. If that makes any sense. Yeah, I could talk about this game's combat forever because it's really weird to me, man. And it's, I think the combat is the perfect, like, I don't want to say allegory, but it's the perfect, like, it summarizes this game perfectly, right? That everything good about this game is all just skin deep in appearance. There's a good game in here, right? There really is. There's a good game in here, dude. It's just that, oh, don't look at any of this stuff. I'm fiddling with my microphone. By the way, one of the prisoners that you help, he talks to you through the game, and he gives you like pointers. On the PS5, his voice comes through the PS5 microphone on the controller, so that scared the shit out of me. So I was trying to toggle that off. I didn't figure it out. Anyway, guys, I'll be honest with you, I did enjoy it. I really did. I don't know if I'm gonna be coming back to this game, but for what I did play, I did enjoy it. The main campaign, I think I beat it in around like 10 hours, maybe 9. So it's not that long. But then again, the length of the game and the quality of the game, completely different. I really do think if they would have, I don't know, touched up this combat just a little bit, like just I don't know, have a lock-on button. That would have dude, that would have been done. Perfect. Add a lock-on mechanic. That would have been great. Right? But there isn't. And because of that, like, there's maybe 1 or 2 big cons of this game, right? But these 2 cons just drag the whole thing down, dude. This could have been like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. But honestly, to me, it's probably like a 7. You know, probably about a 7. And that's really a shame, man, because I do like this game, right? I don't know if I love it, but I do like it quite a bit, you know, and I wanted it to be better. We all wanted this game to be better. But just some really weird design decisions from the gameplay perspective, right? Just going into this game. So that's a shame, man. Anyway, guys, that's the review, right? That's the review. What do you guys think? Are you guys still interested in the Callisto Protocol after I just rambled for 15 minutes plus? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree with anything I had to say? Please go down to the comment section, leave a comment. I would love to discuss, because clearly I got a lot to say. Anyway, guys, the Game Awards is in a couple days. I got videos to make, so I will catch you guys later. Peace.